June 5th of 2024, my high school graduation. A celebratory time for myself personally, with a future full of possibility ahead. That day I was able to get off of work early, headed home, had some lunch, threw on my gown, took some photos, and then it was time to drive over to the school later that afternoon. On the ride over, I feel as though I'm on some sort of cloud nine. Life doesn't feel real. It feels like everything is sort of flashing in front of my eyes, and it feels like I'm in some sort of dream. We get to the school, and as I'm in the big group of kids who I'm graduating with, I feel like I don't really know how to get myself in conversations with them or really even just interact with almost any of them. There's one kid who I actually think I drove home from school one day, sort of just following me around. There's another kid who was on the track and cross country teams with me throughout high school who I'm talking with, but that's about it. I'm trying to mingle, trying to get myself to be part of some group of people who are all talking together, but I'm simply unable to do so. Now, the reason I touch on this is because I think it is a good example of how my life in high school truly was throughout the majority of it. I was sort of that kid who became very focused when it came to something that I was particularly passionate about, or something I really enjoyed doing. Going back to the story, me and my class were sitting under the hot sun with no water for about 2 hours, just waiting for our names to be called up, anticipating them. When they finally were, I remember just sort of wanting to take a mental video of everything that was happening while I walked across the stage that day. I remember hearing my name vividly being called, walking down, seeing all my old teachers from the years before, receiving my diploma from them, and then getting my picture taken with it after the fact. Shortly after that, graduation ends, and I'm beaming with joy after the fact. 12 years of hard work, finished right then and there. Afterwards, I go home, have a little graduation cake with my family. A few days later, have a little graduation party, and all seems right with the world. I'm looking to go into an apprenticeship, try that out, and give it my all, and potentially, hopefully, stick with it for a long time. The first few weeks straight out of high school went fairly well. I'm working consistently 40 hours a week. I have something to look forward to, which is my big graduation trip coming up, and everything's going all right. But about a week or so before the big trip, I start to sort of ease into the reality of what my life is gonna look like from now on. And needless to say, at the time, it was not a good one. Some of the trip was good, but there were a lot of really bad issues towards the middle and end there. And because this was happening on my graduation trip, and I was pretty miserable with the work situation, or I was starting to get miserable with my work situation at the time, I just started to take on more of this miserable persona, I guess you could say. About a week and a half-ish after we come back from the trip, I'd go out in the field for the first time, and needless to say, my first day was pretty terrible. It was very stressful, and the end could have actually ended up very deadly for me and one other person. Basically, I got terrible parking directions, parked in the wrong spot, had to lug a heavy tool bag up a hill for 15 minutes under the hot sun, got called illiterate the second I walked through the door, did my work and everything like that. When I was on the way home, my phone overheated and I almost missed my turn less than a mile from my turn on the highway, and I almost got in an accident where I could have slammed into the side of a car, and that could have definitely ended up potentially deadly for myself and the other driver. Now, this wasn't the only reason I decided to not pursue this. Another reason is because, I know this might sound pussy, but my hands get extremely cold when it's like really cold outside. If I'm outside in, let's say, 20-degree weather for more than like 15-20 minutes, my hands will be hurting, they'll be burning, they'll be all red. So there's a good chance I could have gotten frostbite if I stayed in there. It's a really like shit industry, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, man, after that experience, I wasn't so sure I wanted to keep pursuing that at 18 years old. Also, the chemicals I was working with, I was told could potentially cause me cancer and brain damage, and the chemicals kept falling on my arm over and over again, and it would like burn. And yeah, I think that was another sort of push for me to sort of get myself out of that situation. I stayed there after that experience, but it was essentially just getting shit on every single day. Pretty much feeling miserable every time I was there, or when I was even outside of there, because I carried those burdens with me. and just dreading what was to potentially come next for myself if I stayed. During this time, I also felt very alone. There was a group chat that I was in on Snap where a group of people said that they wanted us to all hang out sometime while they just all hung out with each other. And I just felt very isolated in my own struggle. Going back to what I said about graduation day, I just really couldn't relate to any of my peers. And that sort of in and of itself exacerbated that struggle that I was having in my own mind more and more. So I had no one I could truly relate to, no one who I could really talk about what was going on with my struggle. And that only made the situation 10 times worse. I started getting way too caught up in my head about what was going on. Every weekend I would sort of coop myself up in my room and just sit there and spiral. I wasn't doing anything to either help or fix the situation. I was still living to impress other people or make my family proud because I was afraid of the outcome otherwise. But then again, I was almost completely alone at the same time. I didn't have a bunch of friends to worry about being teased by if I'd left. I wasn't close with a whole lot of my family. My parents didn't really care that much. So what the hell, I might as well do it. I ultimately decided to leave, using the good side of being lonely to my advantage in the situation. I start reading up on strategies to help yourself get out of your head more. After my mental health being at its ultimate worst previously, I found a new purpose, a reason to start building upon my mind, body, and soul more again, and to preach the same to other people. I had little to no distractions. I was working fairly regularly still building myself up, and I was able to do all this because I found a strong purpose for myself again. All throughout high school, that was running. It pushed me to want to better myself both mentally and physically. And that was my favorite part about the sport in general. But after high school, I wasn't really pursuing that anymore. And so I sort of fell back, not really knowing why I felt this void and lack in my life all of a sudden. When I was in high school, I didn't care that much about not having many friends or being sort of an outsider because my purpose really drove me and it challenged me. It stole my focus. After high school, I hated my work life, did not honestly want to long-term pursue what I was doing, and that just left me miserable, lonely, and very unhappy with my situation. I wasn't challenging myself, wasn't getting myself out there, and so I continued to lay in my room, staying a prisoner of my own mind. I allowed my loneliness to catch up to me in the wrong way, resulting in these feelings being exacerbated. But eventually I allowed my loneliness to be of benefit to me. Because there weren't too many people who really cared about what I was doing at the time, I decided to choose my own path. And so far, 8 months in, I can confidently say that I made the right decision for myself. Sure, because of my decision, I'm not making as much money as I could have right now. Sure, my decision is probably not seen as plausible by most people. And sure, I might not be as far ahead as I could have been by now. But even with all that, I can confidently say that I made the right decision for myself. I got my drive back. I've made significant progress in terms of personal development for myself over the last 8 months. And I found purpose again, most importantly. In conclusion, guys, if you feel lonely, sad, depressed right now, you feel like you have nothing driving you forward, and you hate your life, especially after high school, then the most important thing you need to look for right now is your purpose. Loneliness can either be used to your ultimate benefit or ultimate detriment. It can either push you forward or pull you back. Use this time to the best of your advantage, no matter what any other motherfucker might say or think. Try different routes, explore change and possibility for yourself. Because bro, this life is far too short to live it falsely to what you actually want out of it and your own beliefs. Do you, and you will see the tremendous growth and personal development from it. I promise. I hope this message helped you today, my friend. Keep putting in that work towards becoming at least 1% better each and every day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay grinding. Woo! Let's go.